Thursday, 12th of October, 2023. And in this evening's show, we catch up on the latest goings-on since the last pod, including reactions to Derby, Charlton and Liverpool under-21s last night. And we also look ahead to Stevenage at home this coming Saturday. I'm John Ashmore, and this is the Seaside's podcast Extra Time Show. No Kouassi, no party. Ooh.
Small town from the north of England with a great tradition.
One, two, three, four.
No Kouassi, no party. No Kouassi, no party. It was proved to be correct, wasn't it? Like, take him out the team, what happens?
Andy, you were the prophet there. The question is, are you getting that chant going? Obviously, Mr. Regazzino appears to be on a plane somewhere, so it's up to you boys in the Fever Pitch library, that is the sound stand, to get this going. So do you accept the challenge?
Sorry, the library. This is where the ultras are. We have to take on the away fans. You can't hear them in the north.
Do you know, the Derby game, I saw on one of their vlogs, and they were really loud, weren't they? But that did not come across at all from the north and northwest.
To be fair, John, I think if we were going away and we were 3-1 up, I think we'd be loud as well. It's easy while the game's going well to be loud, but, you know, come on. They were good. They were good. To be fair, they were good. But I think we'd have all been good at winning 3-1 away from home. Could have been
2-2 quite easily.
What was that one? What was that one they had about we're going to dance in a minute? Where they just went, ooh, and they all started dancing. I quite like that one.
Again, didn't hear that.
No, it's all a blur in the north, isn't it?
Yeah, honestly.
I think they have a
terrible.
I think they have a song that goes like, I don't know the exact wording, but they bounce around.
Yeah.
And if you don't bounce, you're a red or something, aimed at Forest.
Right.
So everyone's got to bounce to prove they're not a Forest fan.
I think, to be fair, give them credit. It was quite nice to have well, it wasn't nice, but you know, it's variety to have a club that doesn't just have exactly the same songs as everyone else. You know.
Yeah, true. That's very true.
And there wasn't a lot more to do. It was joyful in that game, wasn't it? Other than what are they singing?
Yeah, you've just said though, John. It could have been 2-2, and that one, it's the underneath of the bar, goes over the line, and you're different game, innit?
It was
different game.
Yeah, it could have been quite different had that gone in. It'd have been Charlton-esque almost, wouldn't it?
Well, that's the difference to the question that I've seen asked several times on social media of what does Carey do? And the answer is he almost wins games. That's the
almost isn't good enough.
That's a theme, isn't it? That's a theme for us. We too many almost, and so let's hope when he puts Kouassi back in on from the start on Saturday.
Andy, it's not going to happen, is it? It's not going to happen if he doesn't do the popular thing.
I think his winders might go in if he didn't play him on Saturday.
Well, we don't want to be making.
I'm only joking. I'm only joking.
Disgraceful.
One needs to borrow a catapult that may or not have been used to put some windows through.
Allegedly.
Anyway, everybody, welcome to everyone on YouTube and on Tinternet. We are coming on a Thursday. There's been a bit of a gap since our last pod. Numerous reasons why various members couldn't make it on Sunday, so this is the only day we could have done. Just a quick get well soon to Mr. Nick Smith, who I think, Matt, you have been a postman, haven't you? In between jobs, Nick has succumbed to the arduous life of a postman and sustained quite a bad injury from doing it 1 week.
It's definitely a young man's occupation where Nick doesn't really qualify, isn't it, really? I'm surprised he's actually got something like that. I thought knowing Nick and his culinary habits, he might have got gout or something. But, yeah. We wish him a speedy recovery.
We do. If you're watching, Nick, get well soon.
A first-class recovery.
I think while we're talking about that, I think we should send our best wishes to Andy Lyon's family and to Owen Dale's family for what's been horrendous sort of week or two for both of them. But I can't imagine what it feels like to be in Owen Dale's shoes now, and having been where Andy Lyons is. That's just not a nice situation either. So our best wishes to the families of both those young men.
Yeah, well said, Andy.
Yeah. Must have been awful for the pair of them, and to come back in that game against Liverpool, I think it showed great strength of character from the pair of them. I know I certainly couldn't have done what played football when going through what Owen Dale's gone through. So yeah.
You know what?
It
shows what football is, that we get really worked up about it, and we get so wound up about the professionality of it and so on. And I've no idea what went through Owen Dale's head on that day, but the fact he wanted, and I assume he wanted to play, shows that what it is, it's a game that you love. And when we were kids, we played football and you escaped from the world, and it was like a sort of a dream world you could go into playing football. And when we were kids, you were getting away from homework and shit at home and stuff. And it shows what football really is, that he wanted to play that game and he wanted to go out and be on the pitch. And I think we often forget that. We forget that players are people. And I'm as guilty as anyone for writing, stupid, snidey descriptions of them. And
well, we all are, Mitch. Don't beat yourself up about it. We all do it, don't we?
Yeah, I'm saying I'm not, I'm not lecturing anyone. And secondly, we forget that it's a game. That's what it is. Yeah.
Well, you look at Israel and Gaza events over the past few days, and you do realise how sort of insignificant it is in the grand scheme of things, don't you? Yeah. Okay.
After that, just wait till we get to the bit about Critch not picking Kouassi, then. Back on it,
I've already made my voodoo doll of him here, and I'm ready to pull a few fingers on. Okay, everybody, welcome. Sorry, Matt, go on.
So I'm going to say, pull his fist off.
Or sort of half tear it off, and when he does do the fist pump, the fist flies off into the north. It's the rabid pit of dogs that is the North Stand. Right, everybody, welcome to the stream. Apologies. Thanks for joining us, everybody who's out there. Sakir is on the subs bench this evening. He's obviously on the stream, and he's washing his hair tonight. Can't get the glitter out. I think that's reference to a stage event at the Labour Party conference, wasn't it? Didn't want to see that.
Is he going to have time for this when he's PM? That's the question.
Oh, yeah. You have to send one of his subordinates in, won't he? Or his home help, or his cleaner, or his gardener.
Can afford all of them on his expenses, can't he?
Yeah. Right, let's get Tim off. Let's get this banner on. Blackpool 1, Derby County 3. I've just penned it. We're not going to go through into this in much detail as it was so long ago, but I've just put Pool outclassed or victims of a smash and grab. Who wants to jump on that?
I don't know if it was either, personally.
Okay, fair enough. Go on.
I thought it was like we'd gone back about 3 or 4 weeks, wasn't it? I personally thought. We were all expecting a certain striker to be playing, and he didn't. And we ended up playing a bit more of pedestrian pace to first half was almost a non-event, really. And it was like it was a few weeks ago, the early part of the season. And I think we had some sort of momentum going into the game. and then we just sort of lost it pretty much. And I thought from Derby's perspective, it was like a classic away performance. I thought they just did everything right. They sort of saw what we had, realised it wasn't actually that much, and then waited for us to make the mistakes, and they just pounced on us. And, 3 classic away, goals, weren't they, on the break? And yeah, disappointing, obviously, but I thought they were the better team overall, in my opinion, because of the way they just approached everything.
Were they the best team we've faced this season, Mitch?
I think they were very good at what they did. I think that there's an argument to say it was even, but I think they wanted the game to be the way that it played out. And I've mentioned before on here that the fellow who sits next to me, one of my fellow South Stand ultras, I enjoy sitting next to him. He's good. He's got an intelligent view of the game. And I said to him, God, this is boring, this first half, isn't it? And we were just kind of chatting like it was a pre-season game because nothing was happening. And he said, they're not going to do anything. 60 minutes, they'll switch on. And he scored on 57, and it was exactly as he said it would be. And you could see that that's what they'd come to do. They'd come going, right, come on, let's sit deep, two lines, low block or whatever, and let's frustrate them, because they'll get frustrated, they'll lose their discipline, they'll try and break us down, and we'll pick them off. And they did exactly that. They were clinical as hell as well. I mean, those breakaways were superb. Those breakaways looked like the attacking force from a higher division. And I also noticed when they made the subs, they had that sort of horrible telltale thing of, coming off number 6, such and such a body, coming on a play you've actually heard of. And that in League One, that's always quite worrying. It means one of two things. It means they're bringing on clapped out has-beens who are hopeless, or they're actually bringing on good players, and they were bringing on good players. And like when they brought Barkhausen on, I just thought, oh no. And that's exactly as it turned out to be, because he is a good player and he's not a has-been. And they brought Wagon, and I can't remember the other one, but it was somebody else that I was like, oh no, he's good. And I think that
Hourihan.
Conor
Hourihan, and they had a depth of squad, and the way they enacted their game plan was perfect. And the way they executed their chances, they were lethal. Like, I felt sympathy for Grimmy with that sort of tidal wave of Derby players pelting towards him. I think they probably were the best team. I mean, they weren't the best football team or the best aesthetically perhaps we've played, but probably the most effective team we've played in that game, yeah.
Do you want me to illustrate what you've just said there via the medium of momentum graph?
Oh, I'd love that, John. I'd love that.
Here we go. So, the momentum graph there states absolutely jack all happened in the first sort of 20, 25 minutes. I think that rings true, doesn't it? We were on the ball, pressing, attempting to press. We had quite a lot of the ball second half. And you look at these 3, maybe 4 big spikes there, bang, 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 goal. And I think if you look at the XG graph as well, stats 2.46 XG to them, 0.61 to us. But look how much of the ball we've had. This is one for Tim, actually, isn't it? He's always said loads of the ball and doing F4 with it, or words to that effect. And
right, time to call the manager out, isn't it?
Go on then.
No, it is.
Let's have a look at
things are going right. Things are going right. Okay, and then he messes about.
As Tim said there, Andy, gifted the game by changing a winning team, and particularly the attacking threat, which Kelly's put there. You could see what we were trying to do, but to put Dembele up against the likes of Curtis Nelson was never going to work. Absolutely, Kelly.
Can I be devil's advocate in the style of a TalkSport presenter that just disagrees with people because that's what they do? In that,
disagree away.
I could see what he was doing with Dembele because I had my doubts, because Kouassi's been brilliant, and I'm not saying Kouassi wouldn't have worked, but I could see why you wouldn't put Kouassi up against Curtis Nelson, because I almost feel like, well, what Curtis Nelson wants us to do is ping the ball long at a big lad, because he'll marshal that all day. we had Curtis Nelson, and what he didn't like was skillful players getting around him and making him turn. He's got the turning circle of the proverbial oil tanker. And I could see what he was trying to do, and I felt like it just didn't work. And I also feel like I've been tearing my hair out about his unwillingness to play creative players, and I'm not going to slate him for then playing Carey and Dembele in the same team, because that's what I've been slating him, going, why are you playing all the functional players? Why don't you play Flair? He did play Flair. It just didn't work. I'm not disputing that he got it right, but I am saying in this instance, I could see what he was doing. Like when we played Lincoln away, I was apoplectic because I was like, "Wait, you've put no creativity on the pitch. I have no idea how we're supposed to win that game." I could see how he was trying to win the game. We just didn't win it, you know?
I think
sorry, go on, Andy.
This is though, he's been searching for the winning formula, if you like, more. He's been searching for it. He finds it, and then messes with it, and that's what finds us frustrating. I can see what he's trying to do, but by putting Dembele in, it forced us back to the early season. Bloody knock it around at the back, which is why we had 60% possession. We didn't have 60% of good possession. We had 60% of possession, and you know, we'd won with 30 at Barnsley, but he just defies logic to me. I just think, just if it's going well, stick with it as much as you possibly can with our squad anyway. Like if you're lucky enough to have more, you know, a lot of jewels in your bag, if you like, and you can pull out another great player and another great player, then fine. But we haven't. We're looking for a winning formula, and we got it.
Stuck it back in the bin.
Frustrating because we just had 2 wins, so we were looking for the third win. And as always, with being a Blackpool fan, half the time it's a hope that kills you, and we walked in there, and you could almost, I suppose, we almost in one silly way thought we'd lose that. And we bloody did.
It was a Tuesday night as well, Matt.
Yeah.
Which,
never
win.
No, I saw some stats, and I think they were doing the rounds after the game, weren't they? Where I can't remember what they were, but it's just horrific. But the irony is, just before we finish on this particular match, that talking about Dembele, I thought he actually had his best 5 or 10 minutes, and then he hoiked him off, didn't he? I thought we were just getting the ball to him, and he made a couple of decent runs and a couple of through passes and all the rest of it, and then he made that decision. So
he'd literally just set up Dukes for the goal, and then he pulled him off.
Yeah, bizarre.
And as we said before, we having said all of everything there, if Carey hits the underside of the bar and it comes down and it goes in, then we've got a totally different last 10, 15 minutes, haven't we? Because their third goal was only because we pushed everybody forward we could. So at 2-2, it's a completely different game. But
yeah,
I'll tell you what did frustrate me about Critch in the game. Sorry, Andy, I thought you'd finished.
Yeah, go on. It's fine.
What did you're like, now we're on frustration about Critch, go for it. No, what did frustrate me about Critch in the game, having defended the selection, was that what was patently not working was having Dembele as sort of notionally as a striker. And you've got Carey and Dembele, and I was thinking, do something, play around with him. You've got 2 players there that are kind of floating, sort of looking for a position kind of players. Swap them, bring Dembele deeper. The point of Dembele is to get the ball at his feet and run at people, kind of like the point of Bowler. So push Carey up because he can do that, and bring Dembele deeper and find that if you're going to play him, then you've got to get the ball to him. But he was isolated for a lot of the game. So his in-game management frustrated me as much as I've defended the initial, or the idea of the initial setup. And that's the thing, isn't it? I think I've said it before, but that's the thing with Critch, is you get probably first-class coaching, first-class planning, first-class working with the recruitment team, first-class structure. You get a lot of good, but you always end up going about how sometimes he reads the game.
But yeah, we've lost the game Tuesday night. No surprises. No surprises there. Tim's just said drop the player who was actively involved in every goal in that streak. I think he's talking about Kouassi there. He said that comment on Facebook. And he's also ranting on YouTube there. Look, he's got 2 accounts on the go.
There's only 3 Tim Fieldings.
Maybe it is his backroom staff for the conference who are all over.
Does he have a different corporate photo for every account?
Maybe it's an AI Tim. Maybe it's AI Tim Bot 2.0. Harsh. Carey isn't the answer. Sorry. Barn door comes to mind. He kind of hits the hinges on the barn door all the time, doesn't he?
Mm.
The same against Charlton. So
we could have a podcast on Carey all on its own, probably, couldn't we?
Well, you could.
Would you like a
Sonny
Sonny
but
Carey
you're going to
fact?
get one.
Would you like a Sonny Carey fact?
Mitch, stat attack, maybe?
Of all the players, apart from the strikers, Carey has had most shots and most shots on target, right? So every other midfielder is less of an attacking threat than Carey. In the last, this isn't a fact, more of an opinion. In the last 3 or 4 times he's played, I think it's 3 times he's played, he had that ridiculous effort away at Wycombe when he came on. It was outrageous where he took that ball on, I think it was on the bounce, and he sort of, it was an unbelievable shot. He had that effort against Charlton that was brilliant, that was somehow kept out, and he's hit the bar. The lad is not getting the bounce of the ball. The lad is not being lucky. Of our entire squad, he has, by quite a margin, when you look at compared to midfielders, he has the best passing accuracy. He's also the least likely player to hit a long ball in the team. So I can see why he's there. And I thought against Charlton, he was absolutely immaculate. And I thought when we took him off the pitch against Charlton, he fell apart. I'm not arguing that Carey is playing well, but I can see what Carey is and what he has. And if one of those efforts goes in, I think he's going to hit more. I have also picked him as the player that I will hear nothing against. So that's full disclosure. I always have one of those.
It's a bit disappointing, that stat. 0 goals, 0 assists, 10 matches started.
He's not started 10 matches.
Well, don't shoot the messenger. Maybe
Carey
been involved in 10 matches. I don't know.
That includes coming on with like 3 minutes to go. He's not started 10 matches.
Would you like to write to the good people of FOTMob and tell them to change that label?
Oh, well, I will. I clearly will. If there's another player, I'd just go,
Yours angrily from Lancaster.
He goes from stat attack to Mitch attack.
Yeah,
well, there's a hole in my heart. There's a hole in my heart where Gary drove his Range Rover through it. So, I feel like Kouassi belongs to everyone. I can't claim him as my own. So, it's going to have to. And I think Jimmy is a general cult hero. So it's going to have to be Sonny, isn't it? It sounds a bit like Sully.
Where's he playing now?
Cambridge.
Oh, yeah. Played him this season then. Played him. Right, let's move on to Charlton. I've put the banner up there. Charlton 2, Blackpool 2. It took me a few days to get over this, to be honest. I just couldn't believe what I was watching. This is perfectly illustrated by the match notes I've made. I'm showing this to the camera now. I've put goal, Dembele picks pocket, holds off defender, and blam, what a finish. And I was so distraught when their first and then equaliser went in. There's no more entries on there. I couldn't face writing anymore. Talk about a kick in the bollocks.
It was a kick the cap moment, wasn't it? It really was. It just frustration beyond belief. Like that we can't kill a game off at 2-0 up.
With 10 minutes to go, less than 10
minutes to go. It's just like so frustrating. Like I can't imagine that any of those players in that change room or the manager or any of the fans who had travelled there or watched it wouldn't be anything but massively frustrated at that.
Did we lose this on the substitutions? A lot of people are saying he has pre-arranged minutes when the subs come on, that they must come on at X, Y, Z time. I'm not sure I agree with that, but what I do know, or what, in my opinion, that Marv had to come on in that game, as he did in the previous, which was that game where he came on and saw it out when we beat, last home win.
He came on at Barnsley, didn't he?
That's right, yeah.
He came on at Barnsley.
He did really well to help see the game out.
Did, yeah.
See off the aerial threat, and when that Chucks and EK came on, he was a massive handful. He turned the game. Yeah. He changed it, didn't he? And
it did. They went
react.
Yeah, they went more direct to him, didn't they? They could see that he was capable of bullying, husband and Casey, which is pretty much what he did. And we could have just almost match for match, couldn't we? We just sort of could have brought Marv on, and then that would have just been a case of, right, just make sure you stick with him, Marv, for the next however long he was on the pitch for. But I mean, the subs obviously didn't help, and they scored their 2 goals after that. It's one of those, isn't it, where I think anyone after that Derby game would have said, yeah, we'll take a point at Charlton, absolutely. And then when you get 2-0 up, like you say, it's a big kick in the whatsits, isn't it, when you concede as you do so.
Goal? Is it? I don't think anyone's too miffed about the second goal.
The second
goal was a great goal, yeah. But it's the first goal, and the fact that we left ourselves so wide open, right, when we 2-0 up. I mean, like we're critical of him for sitting back at 1-0 as he did at Barnsley, but you can see why. But I think even he was frustrated with the players for not covering themselves a bit.
I think what he'd be frustrated about is you go back a couple of 3 years, we were the masters of the last 10 or 15 minutes of games, weren't we, when we were a goal up or whatever? I mean, nobody got a sniff. And whether we just are not good enough or whatever, I don't know if it's a mindset or something. I'm not sure. We're a bit nervous because we're up away from home or something. Everything, it's just not clicking yet, is it, overall? So this is probably just another one of those we can put in that particular group, can't we?
Can I play to type there and say that 2 or 3 years ago, one of the most abiding memories was Medine pulling Cruyff turns in the corner at Peterborough away, and we had a certain nous about us that maybe we lack in the way that we do that. And I think Dembele coming on worked. I mean, he scored a goal, and it was the classic bring the whip it on for the breakaway. Fine. Morgan was an odd substitution because after having said, well, at the end, in the beginning, football's just a game, we should remember that. It is slightly hypocritical of me to then be critical of the fact that Morgan came along on and sort of pelted round as if he was absolutely desperate to show the Valley what he could do. And I thought we lost a lot of shape. I thought, Carey had played quite a disciplined game and just knitted it together and just done, what he does. And we'd kept the shape. And Morgan came on and belted around and ran all over the place. And that for me was a problem, as was what we've already said, the fact that we didn't really react with Anike, who was proper bullying us. But it was classic. I mean, look, we've literally had Appleton as manager. But if you go back to, do you remember the Lincoln away game in the promotion season where we absolutely decked them for about 60 minutes? And I think Sully nearly scored a wonder goal. Like, he had one where he like 30-yarder that hit the bar or something. And it was one of them games where we could have been 5-0 up. And then suddenly Lincoln just came alive and we couldn't get the ball. And we ended up drawing that game at Lincoln. And how many games did he do that with us? Like Burnley away, we looked like a League One side, and they looked like top of the Premier League. And then he chucks big Gaz on and moves bowler around, and suddenly we're brilliant. Appleton Preston game, that 20-minute blitz against Preston at home, where we were suddenly world class. If you can say one thing for Michael Appleton, he has form for managing sides that look in the same game really, really average, and then suddenly come to life and look world beating. We saw it, we saw it with us, and we've seen it before against him. And I felt a bit like that happened.
That's when they throws tactics in the bin and then go with something else. That'll please Colin. Colin's Appleton's favourite son.
As for the goal, I've put lovely interchange between Tomo and Jimmy. Rhodes peels off his mark and finishes with a plum. When that ball was fed to Jordan Rhodes, it was only going to end up one place, wasn't it? Not Rhodes' head.
I don't know how many sort of goals you're going to see like that with a left-footed left back, left wing back this year. It was as it should be, wasn't it? Really, you got two left footers on the left-hand side and crossing the ball in, and there you go. Odd, but it works, doesn't it?
Big up to Tomo, actually. I thought he played well.
Yeah, absolutely. Well. He did. Gave us a lot better balance, I thought, personally. And for a guy who's, what was his last appearance? Derby in the Cup, was it? Possibly?
Something like that, yeah.
Did he play at Wolves as well?
Barrow in the tin pot.
Yeah.
He's played well in every game I've seen this season. I saw him at Southport as well. He played really well there pre-season. Yeah.
He's got a lot to prove, I think, for a lot of us. But I think he can only do what he did on Saturday at Charlton and make the manager think about the next team selection harder, because nobody should be a shoo-in at the moment, because nobody's really deserved of it. So hopefully he's given him food for thought, really, because I thought he played well.
Do you remember me a couple of pods ago talking about the cutback from, instead of firing it across, cut it back for a runner around the penalty spot? There you go. That's they cover off the central defenders. I'm sure are taught to cover off the ball straight across, so they keep the line of where the ball's being delivered from. They keep that line, and the one behind them is their problem, because
that was on that, Andy. That was Derby's first goal as well. Yeah, because I was literally watching the sort of immediate man, and they cut that back, and they had two runners in, and we'd lost both of them. Bang. Yeah.
And to be fair, that's where somebody like the class of Jordan Rhodes tell, because he was where the centre halves were, and within a blink of an eye, he'd lost both of them.
Yeah,
2 yards, knew what was going to happen, and took it away like the good striker he is. But he'll make those runs probably all the time, but it's whether we got somebody who can actually cut it back.
It's really true. It's really true what you say, Matt. What Jordan Rhodes can do in 2 steps is incredible.
Yeah.
Dead air is a crime. Fucking me throat. I've had a bargain banger chippy tea from seniors, just as a ridiculous aside. 10 quid, 4 jumbo sausages, 2 massive portions of chips, and 4 sides.
For yourself?
Yeah, I was hungry.
That's a good effort.
No, it's fed 2 others and 2 dogs. So yeah. And I've got a piece of it stuck in my throat now. Right, I'm going to use these notes because I've written them.
How long's it been in your mouth if it's only just got stuck in your throat?
I just regurgitated it.
It's come from below.
I'm like a cow chewing the cud. Like the 4th sausage has gone down. Yeah.
2 stomachs.
I've made a note here about CJ doing great defensive work in the first half, coming out the ball and turning defence into attack. Now, I have noticed this. He's doing a bit more on the defensive front in recent games. So big up to CJ as well. Was a stick to beat him with defensively, but I think he's putting himself about a bit more now.
He's doing really well. After I said there is no way that CJ is going to be able to play that position, and there's absolutely no point. And he's actually, I think, pretty much since I said that, he's had 5 actually really good games out of 6, which is more than acceptable for any player. So fair play to the lad. Ole.
And if
reverse psychology's worked.
And if he could cut the ball back like Husband did, instead of firing it at 150 mile an hour across the area, it'd be even better, wouldn't it?
Well, my point was, Matt, that he would do that for bowler. But he only seems to do that off the left-hand side.
Yeah. Weird, isn't it?
So, so he's a left footer.
He wins penalties off the right, though.
Yeah, he does. When a certain Kouassi is his name and nods it on. Yeah, there you go.
Okay, let's go through a few of the viewers' comments re the Charlton game. Let's start with this one from Dennis. Critch makes sure players are all getting their appearance money. Always did it before. Surely not. Tim. I'd say Critch has cost us 6 points with crap selections and subs. It ain't good enough. Yeah, doesn't come across grammatically much of a wordsmith on the comments, does he? As he does in real life. It ain't good enough. No full stop after subs. Are you talking about your grammar there, Tim? It ain't good enough. A jokey one aside. Bob Stinger's just said, I went to Charlton. We didn't sit back and we had several chances. Carey at the bar again and should have buried one. We just got to a time when they were pushing hard. And this one, for all the shit we gave Appleton standing motionless and passionless here, when they got their second, he was giving it big uns the pull, the big un full of passion towards our end.
And why wouldn't he?
That? Yeah, he did come in for a lot of shit off us, didn't he? So
I'm sure
he did.
Yeah,
I've said my opinion's unpopular, but I've said that he was hard done by, and I will stick by that. I think probably me and probably Phil Reekie were joint presidents of the Appleton is hard done by club, and it's not a massive club. We'll be honest, but it is an opinion, and I can totally understand why you'd feel like going, oh, fuck off to us. He owes us nothing.
And then revealing his Preston tattoo.
Yeah, well, maybe, yeah.
Back to the game then. Dembele's goal. What strength shown by such a player of slight stature. Finished with aplomb.
I was going to say it's like a mini Tony Yeboah, wasn't it? The finish.
That's incredible. Yeah.
It was 20 yards nearer and 6 inches smaller, but it was similar in many ways.
He's a lovely player in that he just tries really, I don't know, sometimes weird things, and he just seems to make them work. He is potentially that little bit of magic, isn't he? That we've said we haven't got. That sort of I'm trying to think of the right word. That we need Tim here. That
it.
Yeah, that idiosyncratic sort of non-standard kind of player that does weird shit that the other team can't predict. And I feel like,
is that one?
Yeah, unorthodox. That was the word I was struggling for. I feel like he might cost us a goal or two at times this year.
He did give the ball away a lot, Mitch, as well when he was up there.
But look, you can't say, oh, we lack creativity, and then say, oh, but the creative player gave the ball away. Being serious about Carey for a moment, I want Carey to lose the ball a bit more, because that'll show that he's trying to pass forward and he's trying to sort of thread balls and he's taking a few more risks and he's playing with a bit more confidence. And Dembele kind of would worry if Dembele had a game of 100% successful passes and, you know, just nice, neat layoffs, because I feel like that wouldn't really be the point of Dembele. Bowler, how many pods did we do where we basically went, oh, Josh Bowler, what do you get out of Josh Bowler? Sometimes he gives the ball away and sometimes he puts us under pressure. Yeah, but sometimes he runs the length of the pitch and pops it in the top corner and we all go mental and we win the game where we wouldn't have otherwise won it because he's done something that nobody else can do on the pitch and nobody can stop him doing. And Dembele is the one player, he's really exciting. He gets the ball and you're like, ooh, the ball just goes near him and you think he might do something, you know. It was, you know, a great goal and hopefully we can work him into the team somehow, somewhere on a more regular basis, because I still can't quite see where he fits, because he certainly doesn't fit where he played against Derby.
I think that's, and is he a last half an hour in sort of our best team or our best setup? Is he a last half an hour player better than like a full game? You know, sometimes these games are tough for 20, 25 minutes, half an hour, and they're really tough before the game starts to open up a little bit. And maybe we need a bit more strength on the pitch during those times.
Well, I mean, he's not a wing back in a million years. He might be a winger, but he's not a wing back in a million years. I'm not convinced he's a striker in a conventional sense. He's certainly not an 8 or a 6. I think what he might be, where I might play him, would be sort of, if I was really going for it, is an advanced midfielder, just to basically go all over the place. Do you remember when we did the gravity player thing about, you know, I think Dembele is the nearest thing we have. If you just went, just go and go everywhere, but you'd have to be willing to say to everybody else, right, it's 9 against 10. He's going to go absolutely all over the pitch. The rest of you stick to your shape. And I'm not sure that's Critch's bag, really, is it?
And if we can't shoehorn him into the team, he can always be a mascot as well, can't he? Or look out of place.
Yeah, it's a bit of a tricky one, isn't it? Because I still feel as though, as well as Dembele, like I don't think we've seen anything of Weir yet either. And he came with a decent reputation. He scored a dozen goals for Morecambe last year at this level, set a dozen goals up as well or something. So he's not quite hit the ground running. I don't know where he fits into things either. I can only assume that it really probably comes down to this formation that we're playing, and they just can't, as you say, you can't shoehorn these players in, and they've just got to find a way, because we just never know how good he's going to be if we don't play him for the next 25 games or whatever. I mean, he's not had a lot of game time, and yeah, Dembele's a funny one. He just looks really, really good with the ball at his feet, but how many times are you going to get the ball at his feet against, let's be honest, a lot of physical League One sides? I'm not sure, but I think, you know, I don't think he's probably fully match fit. He's had a bit of period away out of UK football, so it's probably less physical as well, perhaps, dare I say it. So I hope that he gets stronger and, you know, things, we see a lot more of him, a lot more minutes, but I don't know whether he's going to just be like you say, Andy, a 30-minute sort of player or a 60-minute sort of player, depending on the situation.
How did you all feel when Corey Blackett-Taylor floated that one in to the top corner? I was just open-mouthed, staring into space, like an out-of-body experience that wasn't really happening.
Bloody typical, isn't it? You know, we don't score those sort of goals, do we?
I issued a 3-word statement that started with 4 and ended in sake.
Goodness.
For flip's sake.
I philosophically thought, well, it's only a game, isn't it? As I said at the beginning of the podcast.
Yeah, right.
No, I don't know. It was deflating, but there was something about the way they started to come back where I just, even when Dembele had scored and they started to come back, I was never, I don't know. There's something about it being Appleton as well. I thought the narrative is just such that he is going to pull this off and we are going to concede.
Did anyone think they were going to get a winner? I did.
There was only going to be one winner after that, even though it was late on. It wasn't going to be us, unfortunately, despite the good work that we'd done beforehand. But like we say, it's a great point away from home, and let's hope that after the 5-2 midweek as well, it just gives a bit more confidence and we get the right selection and motivation and everything else, because we know that the manager of Stevenage will not bring anything else but motivation to Bloomfield Road on Saturday.
You just a big can't sack full of pies.
You just can't give the chance, can you? And 2-0, we just give them nout. You give them absolutely nout, and that's what you got to do. And then you can't give them that it's that first goal that did it. For after that, we were out of it, weren't we?
It is weird, though, isn't it? That had we been the comeback team, we'd probably be going, "What a great comeback, great game!" It's just bizarre the way that you see the same result as
but felt like a defeat, didn't it?
I know that we shouldn't give games away, and I know that. But had we come back into the game, we wouldn't be going, well, I mean, they let us back into the game. We'd be going, and we fought our way back in, and what great character. It is weird the way you view it. A 1-1 or a 2-2 draw. It can be a great triumph or a terrible disaster.
Well, to them, it's a point gained, and to us, it's 2 lost. Yeah, and that's
from 13 minutes to go or whatever it was. Absolutely, it is. Yeah.
And what we haven't talked about is that Carey header.
Is it that free header?
Right near the end.
Yeah. That was Casey, wasn't it?
Casey. Not Carey. Casey, sorry, Casey.
Although Carey had that one over the bar as well, where he should have hit the target at least.
He was off balance, but we know.
I can see, Matt, if it went across him and he's got to open up, and it is difficult. It is a difficult skill, that, with the ball coming across you like that.
9 times out of 10 on Common Edge Road.
What, into the next field?
Probably into the dark.
It would be from me, but but no, that Casey header, just straight at the keeper on it. Just
it wasn't a
yard either side, and but it was just it's so frustrating. That first goal was a killer for me.
We are only 4 points off the playoffs, though, with a game in hand over a couple of them. So Walden is not lost. And
we're 6th in XG tables, so
Sean sent you that, did he?
No, I looked it up because you were banging on about stats before. Sean must piss himself when we start talking about XG and stats and going on like that's where the meaning lies after. Almost everybody was on.
Our merciless teardowns of his love of stats and data.
I think the frustration thing for me, looking at the league table, and looking at, I said all along during pre-season, I thought Oxford had a good window, really. The Tom Rodriguez and things like that, and players like they got Thornley, Anthony in. I thought they'd had a really good window, and then they started off badly, and now they've come good. But I'm not being funny. Really, we should be looking higher than 4 points off the playoffs, shouldn't we? We should be looking top end of the playoffs. I would think we should be.
It is still only October, and philosophically, to look at things, you just think, if we can get things to go in, if we can play to our capabilities, we really should only be going in one direction. And I do think, there might be, looking at the table, there's obviously a couple of teams that seem to be flying at the moment, but there's absolutely nothing really to fear from any of them, quite frankly. But we need to get it together before we do sort of get into mid-table obscurity. But we've got a tough couple of games coming up, haven't we? And that could be maybe the start of things, or we could just be moaning like hell in the next fortnight. Who knows?
We've got Stevenage coming up next to her in 4th position, as you can see there, on 21 points. We're on 16. We've obviously beaten Liverpool under 21s in the week. I don't think you can read a lot into that game, to be honest, so we won't really talk about that much. But let's move on to...
You can read the fact that we've got the greatest centre forward on the planet.
Go on then. Let's talk a bit about it
then.
then.
We have to briefly talk about that hat trick. I mean, it was ridiculous. And he didn't even look like he was trying to score any of the goals. He just like it was so easy for him.
Didn't even bother celebrating after a few.
No. And there was a bit of shithousery from him in that game. Everything looks so good with him. Like he was putting himself about and being a bit naughty as well, which was good to see. I mean, how do you just like when we signed him? Everyone just shrugged. Do you remember the pod after? It was when we were all moaning about signing Jordan Rhodes, ironically, and going, "Oh, we've signed a clapped out has-been. What have we done that for?" And I said something like, "I quite like the sound of this lad from Sutton, although I doubt we'll see him for about 3 years, knowing Critch." And we're all kind of, well, there's no point even talking about him, is it? And then moved on. And yeah, he's brilliant. He just like that, you know. I know it's only Liverpool under 21s, and I know the kids, but that's millions of pounds worth of kids. Millions of pounds worth of kids. They sell their kids out their academy for sometimes 10, 15, 20 million, and they haven't even played for the first team. And he just made them look absolutely dire. And if you can be bothered, go and find that side angle of his 3rd goal. Watch it on Twitter. Full screen the video and put it on 0.25 speed and watch what he does with his feet. It's absurd. The way he moves the ball through those 2 players is sublime.
Yeah, I think he's another player like Thompson we mentioned earlier. He can only do so much, and scoring a hat trick in 45 minutes, you know, he's banging on the door, isn't he? And you know, we'll wait to see what happens at 2 o'clock on Saturday, but you can't ask for anything more from him, can you? From, you know, a point of view of, listen, you've dropped me a couple of games and we haven't got many points. Now get me back in. I've just scored a hat trick and I'll see what I can do against Stevenage. And yeah, I think we all want him in, and let's hope that he can carry on, because he must be absolutely loving life at the moment. You know, he's come from a side that got relegated last year, and you know, he's scored 5, 6, whatever he scored, 4 or 5 goals for us in next to no time. And, you know, he does look a bit of an uncut diamond, doesn't he? And maybe we can polish him up, you know, and this is the sort of thing that our club is allegedly sort of trying to do. So give him some game time and let's see if he can, you know, do his business like he did against Reading and Liverpool.
So at 3 o'clock on Saturday, when he's waving at us from the top of the south stand or the family stand corner, and just as Critch has given him a rest after an extensive 45 minutes on.
Yeah.
On Tuesday.
We know.
We all want him in. We all want him in, don't we?
Well, it was definitely not going in, Andy. If we want him in, he ain't going in.
The fact of the matter is, for my final stat attack, the fact of the matter is, in all the time he's been on the pitch, we've scored 10 goals and we've conceded 2. So, you know, we're clearly an effective side with him on the pitch.
Mm.
Andy Lyon's getting on the score sheet as well, which was good to see.
That's great.
Good to see him back.
Yep.
So
Absolutely. Because he was just coming back, wasn't he? And he got that head injury in the reserve game against Preston, just on half time in the reserve game. And I mean, and all he was doing there was racing in from the right hand side. We got a cross going over, and he jumped high to get above the centre half, and the centre half got up, and they clashed heads. And I mean, he was showing a great desire to score, and just clashed heads, and he ended up coming off worse. And that put him out of the next Saturday, I suppose. And then you know, hopefully now he's back and off and running again, because Lyons is a real asset to us, I think.
We've got Gabriel to come back in the same position as well.
We have.
We've got CJ, the world's best wing back, Gabriel, Lions, and Tomo, who've all just bigged up.
The fabled Kyle Joseph to come back as well at some point. Back on the grass, apparently.
Yeah.
Yep, Kouassi has to start against Stevenage. And let's move on to that game now. Quick chat about that before we go. The fact that we're even playing Stevenage pisses me off, to be frank. And they're ahead of us in the league.
I just assume Graham Wesley's there. He's not, but I just assume he is. So, yeah.
Steve Evans is there now, though, isn't he? Steve Evans.
Yeah, I mean that's the same difference, really, isn't it? It's just a fat Graham Wesley, fat Scottish Graham Wesley.
Same mould, isn't he? That's for sure. Yeah.
Yes.
I was doing my research earlier, John, reading the Stevenage Comet, as you do, and he's likened our. I'm just reading it to the left here. He's likened the game to Blackpool as the team have got to think like Muhammad Ali, where basically Muhammad Ali got done by. Let me have a look. George Thornburn. And then, he talks about bees and stinging, and he gets it all a bit confused. even more confusing when he says, "Do you have better players in the building than CJ Hamilton?" So,
Wow.
he talks us up pretty well, actually. And it was interesting that he mentioned about Neil Critchley speaking to him, obviously in his early days as our manager first time around, and Evans was at Gillingham, and anybody remembers that. He gave us a right lesson in shithousery at their place.
Yes.
And I think Critchley learnt a lot from that. And equally, Evans has seemingly learnt a lot from Critchley. So they seemingly get on really well together. So it'll be an interesting dynamic on Saturday, because I only imagine that we're going to come across, and I've never seen anything of Stevenage other than what you get on the highlights package, but I only imagine they're going to be a typical Steve Evans. Everyone's 6'5" from the goalkeeper to the left winger. And they're just going to be big, strong, fast, hard, and it's just going to be quite a battle for us, really. So I'm sort of looking forward to it, because it will be a bit. I think it'll be not necessarily blood and thunder or anything, but I think it'll be a good serious test of where we are, I guess, really, against these sort of teams. And maybe we've learnt a little bit ourselves over the last couple of poorish performances to pull our socks up. And yeah, we're not going to get an easy ride on Saturday, that's for sure.
So we've not got a cage in the corner or anything like that. We don't want that.
Maybe not. Maybe not.
I just want to see Critch and Steve Evans as some kind of weird end of the pier duo. If they've got this kind of friendship going on.
You think it'd be like a ventriloquist dummy on Steve Evans?
Laura than Hardy.
We're in a battle, aren't we, on Saturday? And
yeah, for sure.
I mean, if you take the next three games, we've got these at home, and then Oxford away, I think, and then Cheltenham at home on the Tuesday night again.
Yeah,
Tuesday night we're. I think the last time we played Cheltenham at home on the Tuesday night, it was a 5-0 win.
Surely that hoodoo. The Tuesday hoodoo will end against Cheltenham, although they scored their first goal of the season, I noticed.
Which is good, because if they'd have come with no goals against us, what would have happened.
I'm sure I'm sure one Tuesday night we beat them 5-0, and their fans were in the Gene Kelly, and it absolutely lashed it down.
I remember that.
And they moved the
felt sorry
their
for
spectators,
them, didn't they?
Out of the Gene Kelly and put them in the West. Yeah,
I remember that.
That's right.
There was no South Stand at all, was there? It was
That's right. Yeah,
a biblical storm. Yeah, I actually felt sorry for them, and yeah, they did the right thing.
There's about 32 of them.
Yeah, I remember
stuck in the and so we have got form for beating Cheltenham on Tuesday night. So, albeit
we're not playing Cheltenham, are we? We're playing Stevenage.
Stevenage is going to be a tough game, isn't it?
Are we picking the team or not?
Yeah, go on then. Let's pick our team. Remember, let's bang it up.
Well, Tim's
I've
not
written
here.
this app and I never use it, so let's get
We'll be
going.
all right. Tim's not here. He never gets it's our team, so.
I have to tell him again and again and again. It's not Critchley's team, it's our team. Right, formation.
Grimmy and Kouassi. Oh, no, formation.
Yeah,
Can't put Kouassi in goal just to get him in, Matt.
I reckon you do a good job.
Goalkeeper. Did anyone see that Stuart Moore stat that I sent out on our WhatsApp group?
Are you going to use this as justification for picking Mackenzie Chapman?
It won't be Rich O'Donnell after he batted one out to the Liverpool centre forward in that game. Won't be him. But yeah. Big up Stuart Moore, best keeper in D2 at the moment.
Yes, plus 3.71, isn't he? In outperforming his expected saves or something.
And he's a good bloke. He's a good bloke, Stu. He's a good guy. Right,
so we're going to expect a battle here, as Harry Wake has just said. There you go, Harry. There's one of your comments up. You're a bit upset before about me reading Tim's out, but there you go. Yeah, Harry, as Harry says, it's going to be a battle. What formation do we pick to fight a battle? Do we go at them, or do we match them like for like?
I almost think we have to play a variation of 3-5-2 because, or 5-3-2, because we've shown no sign of doing anything else ever. I know it's our team, but I think were we to go in the dressing room and go, right, we're playing 4-1-4-1 or something, I think the players would rightly go, well, we've got some shape, but I want to see an attacking version of that. I want to see us get at them from the off and not sort of spend 40 minutes just standing off them, because they'll be quite happy with that. So I'd say it'd be more of a 3-5-2 or 5-3-2 with wing backs,
Let's just get Grimmy in for a kick-off then, shall we? That's a given.
Yeah, well, we can pick Grimmy, Hubby.
Get the player of the year in.
Yeah. Grimmy, Hubby, Casey. They pick themselves, unless we bring Marv back because they're a set of units.
Well, if they are a set,
Casey was a bit shaky last game as well. He contributed to their goal and missed that really good shot.
I'm making the presumption that Stevenage have got 11 6'5" players. I might be completely wrong. They might be all full of little Dembele types. But,
he might have completely changed his ways in the last couple of years. He might have had an epiphany.
You never know.
Dembele, Pervader, and all that, all like that. Yeah.
I think it will be the same back three as Saturday. So that'll be Casey and Pennington, I think.
Yeah.
I
think if you bring Marvin, you slow the game down. Yeah, if you play Casey, you weaken slightly your back line. But I want us going at them, so I want us getting out from the back quickly. Yeah, we might concede a goal, but let's try and score 5.
Okay, let's pick our wing backs then. This will be the most interesting.
Well, there's no better player in the building than CJ Hamilton, is there? As Steve Evans said. So.
It's not the first time I've seen someone say he's our best player which I find a bit weird. I read somewhere, so I can't remember who it was. It might have been that. I really don't like him. That Bolton blogger that like posh
Thogden.
That's him. The posh kid that blogs on Bolton. I think he said CJ Hamilton is easily the best winger in League One. Was that okay?
Well, they all fear him, don't they? Because he's pace. That's it.
What about Andy Lyons on the right, CJ on the left?
That's exactly what I was just going to say. If we're picking our team or picking Critchley's team. So
how do you drop Thompson?
There you go.
How do you drop Thompson?
How? I click this button where CJ Hamilton is, and I drag his shirt and I drop him in there. That's how I do it.
So you play him on the left? All right.
Yeah.
Okay.
Sorry, Matt.
And Lyons on the right. No, sorry.
That's what I want.
Lyons on the right.
That's what I want. I want Lyons in. He's more of an attacking threat in his natural position. He was a bit lost on the left. Well,
he's
anyway,
fit.
that's what I'm not saying that's ours. That's what I'd pick.
I don't object to playing Lyons if you think he's fully fit. I've got to see he's played one LDV game or whatever it's called now, Pizza Cup game in quite a while. That would be on my question. If he's fit, yeah, let's play him. And I agree with Matt. We are a bit harsh on Tomo, but I think it'd be very harsh on CJ to drop him. To be honest.
Oh yeah, I wouldn't. I think CJ's almost one of the first names on the team sheet, irrespective of formations these days.
Although, you know, I'm not against Thompson being in because I've rated him this season. So there is a debate to be had here, really.
You've got to look at the top, what you get from each player. And I think Lyons, he delivers a nice ball. He works hard down the flanks. He's very good at that sort of far post late run header. He's good at shooting from outside the box. I think you probably, if you turn the players into their like FIFA numbers or stats on Football Manager, Lyons would be above Thompson, wouldn't he?
Bob Stinger's just said Lyons has been ineffective this season. There's an element of truth in that.
Yeah,
Bob.
it's not an unfair comment.
Maybe, Bob, you have to think about things that were going on in his head, and if his dad's been as ill as he had, and since obviously passed, I think he's got every reason to have his mind not on the job. If you get what I mean.
There's a young lad, you know, in a different country and everything as well. It's how often has he been able to get back and all that kind of stuff? We don't know, do we? So
it might be good for him to play this game as well, you know.
Well, I think, you know, I'm not pretending to comment on what stage of grief Andy Lyons is at, but he's obviously been, you know, he's been through it's times past, he's come back, got injured, come back again, and he's got that goal. And I agree, it might be good now for him to sort of deep breath and kick on with the rest of it. I mean, you know, I'm not pretending to be giving life advice, but it might work out like that. I don't disagree with Bob. He hasn't been great this year, but I still think his ultimate potential is high. And you've got to play players of potential like that. You've got to play them and hope that they realise the potential.
Okay, so I think we're in agreement there. Andy Lyons, right wing back, CJ Hamilton, left wing back. Let's move on to the midfield. I think.
Get the prison officer in.
Norburn's in there straight away, isn't he?
Yeah.
Where is he in my list?
We need a performance from him, don't we? I think he's fallen away a little bit over the last couple of games. Maybe he's sort of a victim of not having somebody next to him that he trusts. I'm not quite sure if he knows what his position really is. He's just got to pull everybody up by the bootstraps, and I think he's just getting a little bit frustrated, you know, with certain things. I can sort of see it on the pitch. He's getting a little bit edgy, and he's still a class act, but I think the last few weeks, I don't think we've seen the best of him, to be honest.
I don't know if I'd have him as captain if it was my choice. I think I'd have Jimbo as captain if I was picking a captain out of that side, because like you say, Norburn seems to get ratty, but he also doesn't seem to quite. I don't know, the way that Keogh's used to sometimes pull the players in and talk to. I know Keogh wasn't the skipper, but effectively was when he'd pull the players in and he'd talk to them, and Norburn just seems to get really cross. And kind of it's almost like he's getting angry and boiling up, and I'm not sure that's exactly what we need from the captain. But
I think
that's what I mean. He just
some of the stuff that's happened this season. I think behind him, I think I'd be annoyed, to be fair.
Yeah,
I think he's.
But I do see what you're saying. You need a calmer head.
Yeah, you know, I'm not saying he's wrong to be cross, and I actually quite like Norman. I seem to keep making out that I don't like him. I actually quite like him as a player, but I think fans like the player getting angry because it's the embodiment of what you're feeling. But actually, what the team probably needs sometimes is that bit of direction and that bit of, constructive pointing in, do this, do that, and right, okay, that's gone wrong. Get here, don't do that again. Go over there, and I felt like somebody like Keogh was very, very good at that. And I don't know. I'm not on the pitch. I'm not. He might be talking them through the game, but it's just my feeling.
Is it Norburn or Dougal, or Norburn and Dougal?
No, I'd play them both. I think Dougal has been quite good.
I think
Dougal.
He's been a standout performer over the last two or three games, Dougal.
Yeah, particularly since I think quite relative recently, I said I can't really see a future for Kenny Dougal at Blackpool. He's been good pretty much since that game. So,
there's been a lot of what you've been saying. They've been doing the opposite of these players. So I think keep it up, Mitch. Keep it up.
I did pick that. I did pick that. Kouassi wasn't 5'7", and I thought he was quite an interesting signing in my defence. So
CJ's been sticking it to Tim as well with some of his performances.
CJ's been sticking it to all of us, hasn't he? Let's be frank.
I think if these two wing backs are going to bomb on for being at home, if they're bombing on, then you have to have Dougal and Norburn. It's just the next one is this is going to define the team almost, because it's whether you have the man sitting behind. Do you play a Dembele in behind him? Do you play Carey because he'd done okay apart from his finishing, but he's getting into positions? Do you go back to Weir? There's endless possibilities.
If we could move Kenny in this diagram, I know it's 5 in a line, but we stick in Kenny and Norburn slightly in front of the back three, and then moving that number 9 shirt. The next one's the front two support, isn't it? Yeah. Okay. Yeah. So
I think he'll play Carey. Full stop. I can't see. He's almost, for some reason, almost a shoe-in. I say for some reason. I don't mean it disrespectfully, but he just seems to do enough, doesn't he? He did enough at the Charton game. He did enough against Derby, possibly, or whatever. And I think I do want him to score goals. I do want him to do, get these stats converted into goals and creativity and all the rest of it. But I do also think that he's probably the better option just about at the moment. Possibly. I want to see a bit more of Weir. I just think there's some, we haven't seen enough of him, and it's different. It's difficult at the moment because I just don't think the midfield is balanced right. The
problem Weir's got, Matt, is that he committed the cardinal sin in the world of Critch if he was a bit careless with the ball for a couple of games in a row.
There's that in there, and that's where the Dembele thing. He could easily play in that position as well. But like you said earlier on, he gives the ball away. But is that a luxury? Is that something you have to sort of put up with? I don't know. It's a funny position in this particular midfield, isn't it?
Isn't it odd that we're probably sat here going, "Oh, I wish Matty Virtue was fit," because that time when Dougal, Norburn, and Virtue played together, weren't they great? And then what a surprise, Virtue blows up again. It's weird.
Yeah, it's a funny one, isn't it? We just haven't got that right connection yet. And like you say, we might have only been fortunate at the moment to have fallen across it against Reading, and that's it. We're typically having another conversation about a player being out injured.
Okay, Antonio Simeone, sorry guys, just to interrupt, has just put what I was thinking there is always Oakley Booth. I was going to
say that.
He really stood out to me in that game against Liverpool.
Probably won't be fit though, will he?
And I think Booth isn't really he's not the advanced midfielder. I think from what I've seen of Booth, I think you'd probably pay if you drop Dougal, Oakley Booth might be a good fit there for sort of that kind of part ball carrying, part tackling kind of midfield. I don't think he'd be in the sort of creator role, but I could be wrong.
Dembele in there then.
Do you know if you were to pick a player from the past or whatever that needed the up and down midfielders, Southern. Someone
All right.
will get up and down the pitch, but will be a support for the front two and come in late.
I think more of a GTF personally. Perhaps,
Yeah, maybe.
you know.
But
anyway, I still
Who
think
are we all
I'll be-
picking then? When we
Who-
need
who we
to
got?
knock this on the
I'm
head?
picking Sonny.
Matt?
I think I would prefer if we could find Dembele a place, but I think it will be Carey.
Or who do you want, Matt?
Who I want?
Yep. This is our team, remember.
I know, but I'm going to get outvoted probably. But I'll have Dembele in.
Well, Dembele's getting my vote as well, so casting vote to you, Andy.
I'll go Carey with Dembele to come on, because I honestly think in this game, you're going to need it. You're going to need to have more of a presence for an hour against these. It's when the game opens up that you need them.
Yeah,
I think you're right, Andy.
Yeah, I think Andy's convinced me there, actually.
Yeah, we'll go with that.
Yeah, I agree. Did we say Weir or Carey? I'm just
Carey.
Carey, or I'm joining the other podcast.
Okay, Jordan Rose straight in he goes.
Yeah.
And
No.
Jake Beasley, obviously. Oh, there's a null value in my app.
There's no party here. There's no party going on
what?
this podcast without
If
me.
you put Kouassi in, does his number come on?
There's an error in my JSON. I'll
Well,
have to dig into that.
you will.
As the nun said to the vicar.
Nothing better
No
than a coding
Kouassi,
joke,
no
is there?
party.
It's got to be Kouassi, hasn't it?
Yeah,
Has to be.
Absolutely.
we just need to put his name on every position.
In fact, he's even in this list. There he is.
Yeah, he's there. He's
He's
ready.
there, yeah.
That's him.
Right.
Wait till Steve Evans is saying after the game, there's no finer striker in this league than Kouassi.
That's right.
I quite like the look of that. Do you know, we might even get this right.
Yeah,
No
no
chance.
chance.
I think,
was a
Tomo,
great
I think
bench.
Tomo. I think it'll be Tomo on the left. I think it'll be CJ on the right. I think that'll be his team.
I think Dale's got a shout as well, hasn't he? Coming back in if
Yeah.
his head's
Yeah,
in the right
maybe.
place.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I think he'll want to play. He'll want Dale to have some time.
Right, I'll screenshot that. Send it out to Twitter for us to get a load of shit for that. Some pedant will pick out the null, but oh well, can't be arsed fixing that now. Right, just before we go then, as ever, let's do match predictions. Let's do the fun segment that we did last time. Let's do the match prediction with Critchley's team and our team. Mr. Mitch, you can go first.
Okay. If Critchley picks one of his Critchley specials, I'm quite concerned that we will lose 2-1. With our team, it will be 4-1. Was obviously. Two
Mr.
of them
Smith.
will be Sonny Carey.
Mr. Smith, the one that isn't a broken down wreck on a bed
Yeah, just
full
about.
of painkillers and twisted muscles and backs and things.
I'm just about recovered from COVID Mark 4 or whatever it's been this term. Bloody hell.
Get your comments
Right,
in, everybody who's on the stream, by the way. Let's have a look at your predictions after Matt. Go on, Matt.
I think it will be a close affair. So I think it could well be 0-0, or we might squeeze a 1-0. I don't think it'll be a goal fest. I hope I'm wrong.
Andy.
The heart says a 5-1 win, and the head
it.
says a 1-0 defeat. And I hope to death. I hope that my heart is the overriding factor.
Let's look at a few of the comments. Tim said 1-0 defeat. Jacko 1-0. Phil Hornby 3-0 to Blackpool. Antonio 2-0. Ray 2-0. I think Critchley will have got wise to Steve Evans now. Very, very limited in their approach to football, and I'm quite confident that he'll
Well, we battered
Outmaneuver
Gillingham,
him.
didn't we, last time we played? Because they did school us, but then when they came back to Bloomfield, we absolutely wiped the floor with him. That was one of the best Critchley performances we've ever had. We were brilliant that day. So hopefully he's learned his lesson.
And on that basis, I'm going to go for a 3-1 victory for our team and a 2-0 victory for his.
We need a win, don't we? We really need a win now.
Yeah, we've got tough games coming up. This one included, of course. So yeah, we've got to win our home games, haven't we?
Yeah. I mean, I think you've got to look at Oxford, and you obviously you always want to win, but we go into they're second, aren't they? You know, you can't. Point will do there, but you've got to look at the Stevenage and Charlton games, and 6 points, 7 points from 9 will do. So we can't a 0-0 or a 1-1, and him going, "Oh, it was a hard fought game," and there's no easy game. We can't keep doing that ad infinitum. That was Tim-esque, wasn't it? Ad infinitum.
Bit of Latin to end the day.
Oh, I could press the outro music, get that going there. Yeah. Bit of Latin to end this podcast. Just say thanks to the gents for coming on this evening. Pleasure, as always, on a Thursday. If you have enjoyed the show, you're listening on Apple Podcasts or Spotify, do leave us a good rating and a review. Helps us get exposure on there. And if you are watching this on YouTube, smash the like button or whatever they say. Subscribe. And all that bollocks. And yeah, all Rose said is thanks for watching, everybody. Thanks for downloading. And up the pool.
Up the pool.
Up the pool. Come on the pool.
With a great tradition.